All right, I'm going to go through another piece of writing here that a member of the forum has submitted. So the first thing I'd like to comment on is the title, right? So this title's not very specific, it's very vague. The title is more important than you might think it is because you're trying to attract the reader's attention. So I think a simple technique to use would be to use alliteration in your title, particularly for primary school students. So instead of just writing public speaking, you could write something like the power of public speaking or in praise of public speaking. And it straight away tells the reader that you're advocating for public speaking. All right, you know what I like? Okay, so that sounds a little bit too colloquial. I think perhaps you could rephrase that a little bit into a rhetorical question that involves the reader more. You could say something, do you enjoy thrilling experiences? Something like that. Right, standing in front. Now this is a really common mistake I find. In front is not one word. All right, you need to have two separate words in front of. Colossal, yeah, another really common mistake. All right, colossal is misspelled here. So that needs to be one L and two S's in colossal. So the thing I would advise you to do in a test situation, if the student's not sure of how to spell colossal, just use a synonym. You know, massive, mammoth, enormous, vast, titanic, right? The bigger vocabulary you have. I actually had a student once who was a very poor speller, even though he was extremely intelligent. And yeah, the only way I could get him to avoid making quite a lot of errors in his writing was to tell him you've got to use synonyms that you're confident in spelling. And he did that, and he ended up doing very well in selective. And as we all know, when you become an adult, basic spelling, even though it's important, it's not the main thing in writing. All right, audiences and presenting about something, yeah, it's so vague, right? Don't we want to emphasize what that is? We want to say about an important topic, right? Something like that. In abbreviate, all right, so it's misspelled abbreviated. That I needs to be an E, and it needs to be in abbreviated time as well, not in abbreviate times. That's a verb form and it doesn't make sense. Public speaking in a, is it a concert? Or yeah, some of these words are a little bit hard to read because it's written in pencil, I think. All right, so I think this introduction's a little bit too short. You want to give a little bit, you want to give your reasons very briefly. So before I started writing about public speaking, I probably would have thought about some words I could use. Rhetoric. Do you know what rhetoric is? It's the skill of using language. Elocution, right? The skill of speaking well. And then you could link many words to that. Eloquence, grandiloquence, using big words, charisma, influence, inspiration, right? You could even sort of do some plays with words. You could use aspiration and inspiration. So yeah, I would really try and think more about how you could get that introduction to be a little bit longer and more indicating what your reasons are going to be. I love to do public speaking whenever I have the chance. All right, it's not bad. The moment seems to flood adrenaline. Good, and he spelled adrenaline correctly. Through my body. That's nicely phrased. So yeah, it's a little bit different. Most people would say the adrenaline floods through my body. So nice original phrasing. Like I have won an important race. Yeah, that sounds a little bit clumsy. So I'd probably say instead of like, this is a sort of a very nuanced part of writing. Instead of saying like all the time, you might say as though. Okay, to mix it up a bit. As though I had just won an important race. Before the big day, yeah, I'd also think about editing big using a more original word, because big, everyone knows big and everyone's going to write big. So you could perhaps rephrase that in preparation for the ultimate event, right? Something like that. Ultimate means final. I practice my lines until I know them. Is this meant to be off? Of by the whole of my heart. Yeah, as if I know them at, but so yeah, if that's of, that doesn't make sense. And even if it's of, it wouldn't make sense. So until I know them off, so it should just be something. So until I know them, and I just use a good word verbatim, right? It means you know it word for word, so you don't even have to look at that. So yeah, that whole section needs to be rephrased. But sometimes I do a little mistake. Yeah, that sounds a little, that should be I make a little. And again, little's a really common word, a minor mistake, a petty mistake, a trivial mistake, or two. But I am able to quickly fix them. Yeah, again, why not use a better word than fix? Remedy, rectify. Because public speaking never has to be the exactly same words. Yeah, it doesn't sound right again. You would just say exact, doesn't have to be the exact or precise same words as you're given to practice and memorize. All right, so this is a small detail, but he's used a Z in memorize. In English spelling, that would be an S, all right, to memorize. But I think it's actually good to know both spellings because many children that I tutor who actually have very high aspirations might eventually want to go to college in America or university in America, and they would have to know American spelling then if they were to do the SAT exam. The main point is to be natural, and this looks like there's two L's in natural, so yeah, that's a spelling error as well. When my mum is free, she sometimes gives me feedback on how well I did presenting. All the information gave me the opportunity to do something amazing. All right, this paragraph could be fleshed out a bit more, I think. I mean, look at how short it is. And actually, the whole essay in total is the paragraphs are a bit too short. I think you want to present your point, give an example. All right, what is this something amazing that you were meant to do? I mean, he links to it in the next paragraph, so I think I would just include that in the same paragraph. All right, opportunity to do something amazing, semicolon, to present on the ABC. So you could get rid of that. And you could even have to present on the prestigious ABC, to use a good adjective there. I did a small book review about Aesop's fables. It has been an extraordinary, yeah, he's misspelled extraordinary. Right, it needs to be, it's a compound word basically. You need extra and you need ordinary. Achievement to me. Again, not quite the right preposition there. And it sounds a little bit arrogant to say it was an extraordinary achievement by you. So why not say something about it? It was an extraordinary experience for me. Sounds more modest, right? So, yeah, presents you in a much better light. I even present in another language too. Again, it sounds a little bit, why don't you just say, I have even learned or I have become capable of presenting in another language too. I presented in the Sri Lankan Cultural Forum. All right, what did you present there? Give a little bit more information, give more context. Right, so let's say, yeah, if you were to rewrite this, and that's something I often get students to do, is that we will actually rewrite a piece of writing. So I would have said, yeah, this introduction's too short, fix all those spelling errors, give examples in your points, link this point, link these two paragraphs together because there's no reason to go into a new paragraph there when that one is so short, and you actually you have the specific link there. And this conclusion is too short as well. All right, I have done a lot in public speaking. Yeah, I really don't like the phrase a lot. So think about how you could rephrase that. I have partaken of many public speaking experiences, or I participated in many public speaking experiences, and I wish to continue. And you could say, instead of it, you could be more precise, this endeavor for other places like school too. Why not try to link to other things outside of school as well? Don't make it look like you're just thinking public speaking something necessary to get through school, to get good marks. You could perhaps link it to leadership. You could mention some famous politicians. Why not even mention a famous speech that you know of? right? So uh, try to make it look as though, because this is very important in terms of selective, how they're looking for people to contribute to the society, right? In all these articles you read about it, try and make it look like, you know, you're going to learn about public speaking so you can inspire people with the power of words, right? With the power of your rhetoric. And you could compare yourself. I'd probably use someone like John F. Kennedy Jr., right? Sorry, or JFK, because he used a lot of techniques in his writing. So one of them is chiasmus, a technique called chiasmus, which makes his speeches very memorable. When he would say things like, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." Right, and the other one is, "Mankind must put an end to war, or war will put an end to mankind." Right, so that sort of rhetoric. Could you do something like that with public speaking? You know, ask not what public speaking will do for you, ask what you will do for public speaking, right? And then you're making an allusion as well. It's like, oh, I see, you know, this student knows a lot about public speaking. They know about JFK and his techniques. So definitely try and end this on a memorable note, all right? You can't have a conclusion that's so short as this. And why, see, even in the layout, you've got a blank line between each paragraph, but this one you don't, right? So it seems odd, you know, it's inconsistent with the other paragraphs. So yeah, I actually would advise this student to try and rewrite this, to try and fix all of the errors. So you'll figure out, all right, in front, it's not two words, spelling errors here, spelling errors here. Yeah, don't use these common words. Fix the phrasing up here. Again, common words, spelling errors, spelling error, phrasing errors, right? And fleshing all of it. Nothing wrong with this paragraph, but it needs to be lengthened and fleshed out. Spelling error. And I think if you fixed all of those things, this wouldn't be a bad piece.